Breann Billey, welcome to Crossing the Line.
Thank you so much for having me on.
Right on. Before we even start talking about firearms, why don't you just tell the listeners about who you are, what you like to do, all that sort of good stuff.
All right,
Frame the picture.
I don't want to say like your average girl because I do have some unusual hobbies for sure that are a little bit more rare. But just, grew up in the East Kootenays, didn't really do a lot of like outdoor stuff. We went camping a bit kind of when I was a kid. But as I've gotten older, I really enjoy just being outside, fishing on the rivers. Like we have some absolutely stunning rivers in our area. And with that, just got more into outdoor stuff, firearms. With how things are going in Canada, it was kind of that threat of them maybe getting taken away that really piqued my interest. And I was like, wait a minute. Oh, so I can still get that now. And luckily was just able to kind of slide in right at the end with handguns and have just been more into it as the years have gone on.
Cool. So I know we've, for listeners, our families have known each other for a long time. My sister and your sister were good friends and grew up. But your dad wasn't much of a gun guy though, hey? Like I don't remember you guys really, like you said, you're getting into it, but I don't remember your dad ever being a firearms guy.
No, he I think mostly is a pal holder to inherit like my great grandfather's and his dad's guns. I don't know, like maybe when he was younger he might have, but in my lifetime we went out and shot my great grandfather and my grandfather's guns one time. So I don't know if it's like hunting, like necessity wise wasn't really a thing for him, and then I think he might enjoy just like shooting. Like I quite enjoy actually like long distance shooting as well, is really fun. But he has a hard time sitting still. He's kind of like he likes to move around, more of like dirt bikes, quads kind of a guy.
Yeah. So I always, for whatever reason, thought that your dad, he always seemed like he was the hunter type, but
right?
But I guess he's he always,
and he doesn't
like
like fishing either. He's like, this is so boring. Like, what are you talking about? It's like just sitting still and like doing stuff. He's like, nah, not so into it, but maybe I'll get him into it. Shooting at least, maybe.
Yeah, that'd be cool. So before you ever got into shooting, what did guns mean to you? What did you picture gun ownership being like? I know you said that you weren't really around them. You did a little bit, but what did you kind of think of it before you started getting into it?
I would say I kind of had like two ideas. Like one being just like hunting, rifles, that sort of thing, and then sort of that movie aspect of like military and like super cool and like that sort of a thing. But yeah, it definitely wasn't like a negative thing. Like my grandma doesn't really like guns. I would say some of the women in my family just didn't like them. I actually don't think I've ever had a conversation about why my grandma doesn't like guns. I just know that she doesn't like them. But yeah, it was like never a negative thing, but just kind of not too many thoughts about it, I guess.
So you kind of alluded to it. You said that the way things were going was part of the reason why you started getting into it. So why don't you walk folks through what made you start thinking about them, what made you get interested in them, and kind of how that first step intro into firearms went for you?
Yeah, so the conversations about the potential ban were happening, and I was 21 at the time, so like I had just been old enough to be able to get your PAL and stuff, but wasn't really on my mind at all. And then I had a friend who owned a handgun and was like, yeah, if you guys are wanting to get one or interested in, like, let's go out to the range and you can see what they're like. And so I was like, sweet. So me and my boyfriend Parker went out with our friend and got to shoot them, and we're like, this is cool. I for sure want to be able to have my own, and be able to shoot this whenever I want to. And for him, he's gotten into competitions, but for me, I'm just casually shoot, and I'm still working on getting better because it is a surprisingly difficult thing to do.
Yeah.
And yeah, went and got our pals, and then I was not planning on buying a handgun, really. Like, I was like, in the future, like, whenever, I'm like, no rush. And then the ban got announced, and everything started selling out. Everything started going crazy. People didn't know if you were going to be able to get them, how much longer we were going to have them, and that sort of thing. And so I was kind of like, well, I want this, I'm interested in it, and then was able to get one in basically at like the last second.
Okay. That I was a little bit behind the curve. I have some good friends of mine that have handguns, and they had their restricted license, and they were like, oh, you should get it, and I'm like, I kind of don't see the need for it. And then it was like, as soon as we weren't allowed to have them, C21 came on, and the freeze on handguns, I was like, man, it'd be pretty cool to actually have one.
Right?
So I anyways ended up taking my restricted, and now you obviously still can't get them. So I'm out of the club of being a handgun owner right now. Hopefully it might change, but yeah, that's I'm a little bit envious that you were able to squeak in, and I kind of missed the boat there.
Yeah.
Once you actually started getting into shooting, what surprised you about it?
Definitely the difficulty was shocking. And I guess just the, like, how friendly people can be, like, when you're out there, and if you are ever shooting with someone, like, how much they want to share it with you and be like, oh, have you ever shot this gun before? This is what I have, and that sort of thing. Like, how, nice people can be. And, how hard it is. Like, I really can't stress enough just, like, how not easy it can be.
Yeah, that's I see that from some of the people that I've taken out getting into shooting. Is you think it'd be people just pick it up and they're like, oh man, this is easy. Like, it's like point and shoot, and literally like point and shoot, and it's just like anything else. It's like you give somebody a hockey stick and you're like, all right, why don't you shoot this, or a golf club or anything. It's like, yeah, it totally just takes practice and repetitions and bit of dedication to get proficient at it, and it's not cheap. Like, I mean, it's
definitely another aspect is
those,
like guns, accessories, ammo, all of it. It's an expensive hobby for sure.
Oh yeah, like it's pretty crazy, and it's not like one of those, like, I kind of think of there's consumable and non-consumable sports. It's like, or hobbies. It's like, I kind of think of golf as like really non-consumable. It's like you buy your clubs once, you go out, and then it's like you can hit a bucket of balls, and it's like you end up with most of the balls at the same. Archery, I do a fair bit of archery, and I'm like, it's the same kind of thing. You can just shoot, you reuse the same arrows. It's like you feel nothing, but it's like, man, when I go to the range and it's like I like smoke through a box and a half or 2 boxes of shells, you're like, holy smokes, that was like $150. Like, you're like, man, I'd love to go get better at it, but you're like, it just costs you so much money, and that's the other thing.
And you have to stay consistent. Like, even if you get really good for a while and then you stop shooting, it's like you won't be as good.
It's a perishable skill for sure.
Yes. Yeah.
It's aside from actually like practicing and the more you started shooting, getting better at shooting, maybe some of the non-tangible things, what did you start getting better at the more you were involved with firearms?
Confidence, like in
Yeah.
yourself, and things that aren't related to shooting that you're better at. Oh, jeez.
I know for me, like a big one, the more I shoot, it's like patience is a huge one.
Okay.
Like it's being able to have the patience to get better. Like it's one of those kind of things that it's got a pretty like good learning curve. Like you can get pretty proficient pretty quickly, but to get from that intermediate to advanced expert, I find that's where that learning curve really starts to taper off, and I find you can kind of plateau. And to just have the patience, the discipline, and the, I don't know, call it stubbornness, to just keep putting reps through and refine yourself. I definitely find it's a patience thing. Discipline as well, you know, like you said, you gotta be consistent.
I can definitely see that, because like the competitions, like Parker's done a couple of them, and it's like seconds like in between it, so it is, like it's not like, oh, we have a clear first place. Like it's like sometimes it's a good day, sometimes it's a bad day, and it's definitely very close.
I even find like you get on the discipline aspect, it's not even when you're shooting, but it's the whole thing of when you get back, you know, you should clean your gun depending on how dirty it is. You should. And it's, you know, it's like, it's, you know, true. It's pretty easy to just like, walk in, and it's like you lean the gun up beside your door, and then you go do some other stuff, and then it's like, you know, you can forget about it and it's left sitting there. You know, there's all of that, like the I guess, for lack of a better term, like the aftercare, like making sure you're if you have a restricted firearm, making sure it's legal for transport back to your residence, making sure as soon as you get back, you put all that away, keeping your ammunition sorted. I know a big one, like you can tell by like my office behind me, I'm not a very like meticulous, organized guy. Like I'm pretty cluttery and all over the place.
Mine's all just out of frame, so you can't see it all, but mine looks basically the same just over there.
But
it's just like stacks of stuff.
Yeah, I found, excuse me, when I started really pulling guns apart to clean them, something simple like, you know, the bolt actions that I have, or a pump action. It's like it's pretty straightforward, pretty simple to like pull apart. Like I was a little disorganized, and a couple years ago I bought a semi-automatic shotgun, a Beretta, for waterfowl hunting. And it was quite dirty. I bought it used, and it was really dirty, and I was having some cycling issues, so I took it home, and it was like, there's like 1,000 pieces in this thing. Like, it's just, you look at the extruded plan view of this thing that comes, and it's like, there's like so many small, teeny little parts. And I was like, oh shit. And anyways, I just started taking it all apart. Then I was trying to figure out how to put it all back together, and I was with a buddy of mine, and we were figuring it out. And at the very end, I was like stressing brand new shotgun that I just bought, and finally got it all put together. And I'm like, okay, we got it, perfect. And my buddy, he picks up this little, it was about a 1/2 inch long, like maybe 3/32 diameter pin, metal pin, and he just goes like, "Is this part of your gun?" And I was like,
no,
I hope not. So anyways, had to take it all apart again, and ended up finding where it went and put it all back together. But it definitely, that made me learn my lesson. Like, I'm a lot more disciplined now when it comes to, and methodical when it comes to like pulling those things apart. Like, I take a piece off and I set it here, then I set the next one here, and I just kind of layer them like in order as they come off.
Having a clean workbench to start out with, so you're like, if I'm missing anything, it should be right
Yeah.
here and easy to see. Oh man.
Totally.
Well,
You
good
know,
thing
that's
you noticed that.
totally. But yeah, it's definitely. I've learned a few lessons in being more meticulous and tidy than I usually am. That has just strictly come from owning firearms and
I'm quite like that
servicing them.
already, I will be honest. I like, not in every aspect of my life, but especially in like my stuff. So not as much like super new, but yeah, just like at home having everything organized and new things, different setups, different safety glasses, different ears. That's what I'm struggling with right now is like when I have my eyes and my ears on, I'm just always getting headaches and I'm like I gotta find something different because that just cuts your day short when you're like I'm having a good time, but I've got about 45 minutes an hour and then I gotta take this all off.
Yeah, totally. So you said a big one was building confidence when you started getting better at shooting. How, maybe describe to folks how that kind of changes how you carry yourself. You know, even if that's in just day to day, or if it gives you that kind of extra little bit of confidence.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it does. Like, I definitely think it'd be, especially as a woman, like, I do envy the States and how their ability to carry on their person. Because I think most women have times in your life where you're like, I am just a woman and there's scary things happen and I just wish that you could have that. But, at least like in the aspects of being at home and knowing like I hate being like by myself at night. I get so spooked out. And just to know that you have that ability of like something that is very powerful that I know how to operate and have the confidence to be able to be like, you know, of course I would never want to, but I know where it is and how to use it. And,
Yeah.
you know, yeah. So I wouldn't say as much like day to day. But overall, definitely gives you some more confidence.
Yeah. I find too, it's one of those things when you become good at it, there definitely is like a confidence of just knowing like that you're good at something. You know, you can kind of think if you're having a day where you're like, you know, I've definitely joked at work. I got a buddy he's just getting into guns. He's not much of a shooter, and you know, we might be having a bad day at work or whatever, and he's like, oh, everything kind of sucks, and then I'll be like, yeah, well, I mean, this might suck, but at least I'm a good shot, like. Okay, you know.
At least I have that going for me, yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Just rub that in his face a little. He has something to forward to.
Yeah, maybe you need to shoot more and you'll gain some more confidence, and then it'll make you just happier. You can just, if you're having a bad day, you can just think and be like, yeah, I'm a good shot.
Yeah. I like that.
Maybe walk folks through your first time or first few experiences at the range. I know when you are getting into something new, it was, you know, it's the first time going to a gym, first time going to a new place of work. Like, starting off in something new can be super intimidating, and you throw firearms in the mix and you throw how people perceive gun owners, the loud, harsh, rough around the edge rednecks that are at the range. Like, it can be pretty intimidating with, you know, guns. It's loud. You may not know the safety. So maybe walk folks through the first few experiences you had at the range. What stood out to you? How people acted? Just the whole overall atmosphere and walk us through that.
Yeah. So it was. I feel quite lucky. The first time we ever went, we did have a buddy who, I don't think he hunts, but he has a handgun. So he is familiar with that setup. So we were able to he ran us through like the rules of the range, how to sign in at the time. It has changed since then, but and it was just us. It was the three of us went out and just got to get familiar with it. And so that had been my first time operating a firearm in like probably 10 years or so. And it was very nerve-wracking for sure. Like, you're just like, okay, all right, this is a real gun with real ammo, and we're gonna be doing this. But it was a good experience. It was a lot of fun. We got to get out there. I got to just kind of watch them for a little bit, then shoot myself for a little bit, and then that was before we were PAL holders. And then after that, I can't really think of... Actually, before we bought our handguns, we went to Calgary and went to the Calgary Shooting Center, and we were trying to decide, like, which handgun do we want to buy, because our friend, I can't remember what his was, but it was something different. And Parker and I were both pretty sure we wanted to go with, like, a Glock, but wasn't for sure, so we went there, and it's an indoor shooting range. And you take loud and put it in a building, like, it was crazy.
Concrete walls and backstops.
Like,
and
everything's just, like...
little stalls, yeah.
It was so nerve-wracking. Like, that was my most nerve-wracking experience, was for sure the indoor, and I was like, I never want to do that again. Like, we were shooting handguns, and there was someone beside us that was shooting, like, some type of very loud rifle, and it was just like, you're just like doing your thing, and then it goes off and your like whole body tenses, and it was just like, you're new to handguns, very loud environment, but everyone at the facility was super friendly, and like, we at the then were PAL holders, so we were able to just buy ammo, rent the guns, go shoot them, but they did also offer like lessons and someone to be in there and like run you through things, so it was really nice. We don't have anything like that around here, so if you're new to it and you know someone who is a firearms owner, I would definitely recommend going with somebody, just to kind of relieve yourself of like worrying about, am I doing the right thing, am I where I'm supposed to be, have I done all the right steps. But at our range, it's pretty relaxed because you're often there by yourself. Yeah. It's like a gated area out of town, and you just get to go in, sign in for the day, and go to whichever range you'd like to go to, set up. If there's someone else there, sometimes you just kind of see what they're doing, what they're shooting, and then get to doing whatever you want to do. If you're doing paper targets, if you're hitting steel targets, and just get to enjoy yourself.
Yeah. What do you think, if there's somebody out there who's not familiar, hasn't been around firearms, didn't grow up around them, what do you think would surprise them if they could just come and just sit and watch people at the range? What do you think the biggest surprise would be?
Probably how much slower pace it is than it appears to be, like in movies, or I feel like online, or even like YouTube videos. Like, you're setting up and they're just shooting, like you're seeing the clips of them shooting, whereas like there's tons of time before with setup, what's going on, setting up your targets, putting your eyes and ears on, if there's other people, always checking with what they're doing, and that sort of stuff. So just probably, how much time it takes to do everything else, and then the time that you're actually shooting is probably surprising to people.
Yeah, it's definitely, like you said, like quite a bit slower paced, and I think the safety is a big part of that as well. It's like, you know,
the front of your mind is always just like, am I being safe? What's happening with my guns? Yeah, safety is like the number one thing that you're thinking of, and when you're new to it, I guess it's probably more of like not intrusive, but like it's like very active in your mind. But once you're around it for a while, it's truly second nature to just be handling your firearms safely and yeah, I just not that you don't think about it as much, but it's just second nature to be always handling your firearms safely.
Yeah, yeah. I grew up with them. I've been around firearms since I was, super young. And, like you said, it's just muzzle control and trigger discipline are just two things that are just second nature. Like I don't even think about it. You just know how to maneuver a firearm. Someone's coming across, you can move it. You're in the bush, you're doing whatever. Like, it's not just out there.
Yeah, waving it around. It was
pointing.
Crazy. We were watching a show last night, and it was like, something that had like cops in it, and like they all have their fingers on the trigger, and Peter and I are just like, oh my gosh, he just like waved at that guy's face. Can you believe that? Because like even though it's a movie, they are technically real firearms that they're using. I think most of the time, just like, oh my gosh, that's terrifying.
Yeah, I have a hunting buddy. One of my main hunting partners, he gets like super upset if he accidentally like flags you with his muzzle. At like if he's setting his pack down and you're standing there and it's like he's just like, oh man, like I'm so sorry, like and it's cool to see. It's I think that's an aspect of it that people don't realize either. It's like even if you have a firearm on a pack and it may be unloaded, it's like it doesn't matter if you're pulling it out of the gun cabinet. It's like you always are thinking about muzzle control and where is it pointed. And I'm like that too. Like I feel just pretty terrible and embarrassed if I'm just like blatantly flagging someone with the muzzle of my gun. You're just like, oh man, sorry, like I totally should have just been paying attention to that a bit better.
Totally.
Maybe walk people through the process of you getting your firearms license. I haven't really talked about that on the show. I've done a little bit, just kind of outlining it, but just what your experience with it was like. Was it what you thought it was going to be? Did you learn? What were some things maybe that could be improved on that you'd like to see? Just what would you like folks to know about both the restricted and the non-restricted? What's something you can leave specifically folks who are not familiar with how it works?
For sure, yeah. So I did mine together. So it's a 2-day course that we took. And I would say that I'm pretty happy with the information that you do get in it. And while you're taking it, like our teacher was like, this is also just an introduction. Like this is basically just how to like handle firearms safely, some little things to know about a couple different types of firearms and knowledge that you have, but you really learn a lot once you're in the community and handling firearms more frequently. I took my course, and it was a few years ago now, actually, but it's informative. I feel like it gives you some confidence to get into the community as well. Just like I couldn't imagine if you were just not to give the states too much of a hard time, but like to really just be able to walk in and buy a firearm like in one day is kind of wild to me. Because it's just like it's a completely foreign thing. Like you have no idea how they work or things to know about them. So I would say overall, like, I'm pretty happy with it. If you lived in, like, a bigger area, you would also have that ability to take, like, some lessons or something. Like, unless there is some around here that I just don't know about. I'm not sure. But
yeah, there's nothing, like, close to us that I'm aware of. It's kind of the big cities, Calgary, Kelowna, Lower Mainland.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. So if there was maybe something I guess it's more like friends. Yeah, like find someone that you know who maybe owns a firearm, or maybe talk to the people like when you're getting your membership to the range to be able to get some more like hands-on experience or to meet people maybe like in the community. Um, but yeah, sorry, I don't
Yeah,
have a whole lot of thoughts on it.
oh yeah, no, it's all. I've often said I've had people ask me before who have been interested in getting their firearms license, and they're asking, what should I read up on, what should I study, blah blah blah, and I'm like, it's not a hard course. I'm like,
No.
it's pretty straightforward. They're not trying to trick you with their questions. It's whatever it is, 50 or 100 multiple choice questions and a practical.
Yeah.
It's like if you have common sense, I mean, excuse me, they design it for like an 18-year-old kid to be able to pass it. So it's like, if
Yeah.
you're, especially if you're older and you're getting into it, it's a very easily, the content's very easily digestible, and it's
Yeah.
an easy course to pass.
Totally.
I noticed that when I took my restricted. I took my firearms course, my regular PAL, when I did a combination, the BC Hunter's Ed course, the core course, and the firearms course when I was 10 years old. I had to wait until I was 18
Yeah.
in order to actually get my firearms license. By then, they had changed the program, so I had to retake my firearms course.
Oh.
So it was a while since I'd been in the PAL course, but just recently
Yeah.
when I took my restricted a couple years ago, I thought it was going to be a bit more advanced. I remember what the PAL was like, pretty basic. Everything's like super easy, very mundane, like you said, just nothing advanced. I thought the restricted
Yeah.
would be more. I honestly think they took the whole PAL course and they changed the word in all the questions and content from firearm to restricted firearm. It was like
Yeah.
it's pretty much the exact same course. So, if you're looking at getting your restricted, it's not like the next level hard to
Yeah,
get. It's like
it's
they're
not
both very
insane, and like
reasonable.
they're giving you that information in the course,
Yeah.
and then you're taking a test. Like it's not anything, yeah, that you have to know beforehand or anything like that. Like they, especially like the lady that we took it with, is like she was very nice, very informative, and like if you had any extra questions to ask her, like at the end of the day, she was super happy to like stick around and contact you with people she knew, or yeah, answer any questions that you had about it outside of like the curriculum.
Yeah. Yeah. I've found it with both the way they do the hunter's course in BC and the firearms course. Like you said, it's a good introduction. It's the basics. But you really do all your learning once you actually become part of the community. And it would be nice to see that course actually maybe incorporate a little bit of range time. Or
That'd be cool.
try to hook you up, give you some resources to get linked up with people who are experienced. I see it with new hunters all the time. People are super excited. They're like, "Man, I just got my hunter's ed course, but I don't know what to do now." They don't know anybody who hunts, and it's like if you get your firearms license, you don't know anybody who shoots. You might be
Yeah.
afraid to approach somebody. So, even if in the course they don't have kind of like a range section of the course, but some sort of like mentorship thing. So when you get out of it, you can say, "Hey, here's a Facebook page, here's a website, here's a list of local emails of people that have volunteered," and say, "Hey, if you have new people that want to learn how to shoot, like I'd be willing to, take them out." So it's like just, something like that, some kind of mentorship program.
Honestly,
that
I'm
would
like,
get-
that is something we should talk to, like with the local range, and see if there's people who would be interested in doing something like that, because I think
Yeah.
that would be great in like introducing people and getting them to feel more comfortable and safer and other aspects of shooting.
Yeah, it's the
Totally.
biggest biggest hurdle, I think, once you make the step and you get your license, and then you're kind of like you mentioned it earlier, like when you go to the range and you're trying to learn how to shoot, operate a firearm, and operate the safety rules. Can I park here? Can I walk in here while the people are shooting? It's like it can be really overwhelming, and having somebody who knows the ins and outs and can take you in, set you up, and just be like, hey, you can just shoot. Like, just get comfortable shooting. Like, that's my only other thing with the course. But for folks listening, if you haven't taken your firearms course, it's super easy. Go for it.
Absolutely. Get it.
Find a mentor. Yeah. I want to shift gears a little. You touched on it a bit early. It's a topic that doesn't get talked about that much, especially here in Canada. I don't know if it just makes people uncomfortable, or it forces us to think about things that we'd rather not think about. But it's the self-defense and personal safety side of things. You're obviously a woman, so before firearms, was there a difference before and after you became a firearms owner? You kind of alluded to it earlier, but how did you think about self-defense and personal safety before, and how do you think of it now, if there's even a change?
Yeah, I guess beforehand, it was something that I thought about, that I feared, but I didn't really have a solid solution to, I guess. Like, you're like, okay, well, hopefully it's something that you could fight your way out of, or I don't know, like, do what you can about. And then I feel like once getting into firearms and handguns especially, I was like, well, there it is. That would be like the ultimate solution, is to be able to have that on you and to protect yourself with it if you ever needed to. But it's something that, to me, it was so clear. Like, I was like, oh, wow, that would be amazing. And then when I've talked to other women about it, they're like, whoa, like, that's so extreme that you would want to have that on you. I'm like, but like, things can happen, unfortunately, and like it's a fear that anytime that I bring it up with, like, other women are like, oh, totally, I never walk to my car at this time or in this area, or, you know, I won't walk to my house, or like just different things like that, where you're like, I truly think you would feel different if you had that and knew how to operate it well.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that's a big part of it too. Like you talked about at the beginning, it's so much harder than you think it is. And, you know, under stress, things get a lot harder. So it's not just buying a firearm and having one, if you got it in the gun cabinet beside the bed, whatever, a shotgun or something like that. But it's practicing with it, you know, being comfortable, knowing how to cycle it if it jams, shooting, just proper stance, everything like that. There's a quote, I can't remember, where it came from, but the quote is, it goes somewhere along the lines of, everyone expects in a scenario that they're going to rise to the occasion that's presented to them, where 99% of people will regress back to their lowest level of training. You know, I was a cat skiing guide for just shy of a decade, and thankfully we never had any serious avalanche issues, but we did have first aid stuff. And, you know, you totally expect, like, oh yeah, when this guy, like, if I ever got to do first aid on somebody, like, I'm just totally, like, gonna do this and be the hero, blah blah blah. And it's like somebody, not even anything life threatening, it's like somebody falls down and twists their knee or breaks their leg or something. You're kind of like, holy shit, well, like, what what do I
what do
do?
I do?
Like,
What do I
and
grab?
you totally
yeah.
exactly. It's just stressful, and it's like it totally. I've experienced it firsthand. It totally just sucks you right back to like your basic level of training that you have. And so if you don't have any training or any reps through a scenario, like you're kind of
It's probably not going to go how you had it
like
in your mind.
yeah. So like you said, get proficient with whatever, and that could be, you know, on the self-defense thing, that could be anything. Like if you want to train jiu-jitsu or martial arts or something like that, you know, carry bear spray around, it's like just be familiar with what you're using.
Absolutely, yeah. Like, I think something I never even knew was a thing before getting into it is like dry firing at home and just like running scenarios and getting familiar with stuff. Like, yeah, I had no idea. And that is, I think, comes into with like being at home. Where would you have things stored? What's going on? And truly like running through that over and over and over again.
That's for folks that are listening that maybe aren't familiar with firearms. What Breann said there, dry firing. If you're new as well, and you're still trying to work your way up to get to the range, dry firing is a great, like I do a ton of dry fire practice with my hunting rifle. So basically what it is you cycle the action of your firearm. It's obviously check and prove that it's safe, it's unloaded. Do it in a room that doesn't even have ammunition in it. Like you make sure, but you essentially you cock the weapon and you pull the trigger. And it's good. It's just the mechanics, it's the stance, it's getting familiar with the pressure of your trigger, because all triggers are different. Some are super light, some are super heavy, and it's just a really good way. You know, I know people that will practice with their handgun, drawing from a holster, going up, dry firing, putting it back. You know, just these single repetitions. And if that's all you have, like maybe your nearest range is like an hour and a half drive, and you can't go like that often. It's like, you know, my wife gets mad at me because she'll walk out from our hallway from our bedroom, comes out into the kitchen, and I'll be with the on our kitchen table with the bipod, and I'll just be sitting there, and it's just like I'll just be looking through my rifle out into the back 40 out of the window, and just like click and cycle the bolt and click. So he's like, "What are you doing?" Like,
it
I'm
looks goofy,
firing.
but like it's very beneficial.
Yeah, you know, and for long rifles like that, I know the people in the long range precision shooting, they do a ton of dry firing, and it's all getting their breath work, pulling the trigger. It's, you know, looking through the scope after your shot breaks, cycling, just knowing where everything is, and whatever you have, be it a pump or semi-autos are a little tricky because they don't cycle. You gotta kind of go shot by shot, but you know, anything, lever action, pump, bolt. It's a dry firing is a great option to practice and get those reps in. Pulling back a little bit into the self-defense thing, do you think women are generally encouraged to think and prepare for their own protection, or do you just kind of told and hope nothing happens?
Yeah, I would definitely say it's not really something that, at least in my lifetime, was ever encouraged. I did do karate as a kid, so my parents did encourage us in some ways to just be, I don't know if that was necessarily like a self-defense thing or just like a good sport and like discipline and the other things that it builds. But I think it's, yeah, surprising with how much it's on your mind as a woman, and then there is, I feel like, yeah, a lack of solutions to the problem. But it's something to work on in the future, I definitely think, is like getting more familiar with things and finding solutions to problems that you're having. And of course, with self-defense and guns, it's like, I don't know that would ever happen in Canada. But at least when you're at home, it could be a potential option for you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And if you know how to use it and you're proficient, it's a peace of mind. I definitely, I don't go away often because we got a little farm up here, but when I do, it's like I have a gun safe in the bedroom with everything locked up, and when I'm away, it's like, my wife just knows that it's a bit of peace of mind. She knows how to run the shotgun and how to load it and everything, and if need be, and not even just for people like where we are with chickens and horses and stuff, like bears coming into the yard, something like that. I've 99% of the quote unquote home defense I've ever had to do is a couple shots into the ground to scare a bear away. Like, that's
Yeah,
that's
and
about
we
all
have lots of bears in our area. Like, it is bear territory. So yeah, that's another thing.
Yeah, and that's the self-defense thing. It's for people listening. It's not just about, defending yourself of home intruders. It's bears. I carry a firearm with me 99% of the time when I'm out in the bush. Most of the time I'm hunting, and if I'm not hunting, it's like, and that's another reason to get proficient with it. You may think that the human side of self-defense is unlikely and whatever, but if you spend a lot of time in the backcountry, I've always been told, I've had my run-ins, nothing crazy. I've had a few run-ins with bears, and I've always said, and I've always been taught, that if you spend enough time in the backcountry, it's not a matter of if, it's when you have that big encounter with a bear. And that's I practice with my firearm for those scenarios, just whether it be my hunting rifle, I shoot with my pack on at the range sometimes, bino harness everything, rifle up, because it doesn't sit in your shoulder the way it would if you don't, and that's usually when you're going to bump into a bear, is when you're hiking, and you got to do that. And so practice. Yeah, it's not just about people. Bears
yeah,
as well, if you're in
big time. I would say bears are, yeah, definitely the number 2 on my mind. Is anytime you're in the backcountry, or not even around here, like, it's not even backcountry really, it's just kind of out of town in some areas. Like, you're out there and you just never know when it's going to happen. And like, we just last year had an unfortunate fatal bear attack just out of town, and
yeah,
it's on your mind. I would say it's always on my mind.
Yeah, it's totally, I'm the same way. It's every time I look up, because I know one of the times that I look up from huffing and puffing up the trail, I know there's going to be a bear charging down at me. So it's one thing to be thinking about. Shift gears here a little bit. Let's kind of talk to the people that are unfamiliar with firearms. They might be maybe not have a super solid opinion. Just, we'll call them the middle of the road people. They don't own guns. They're not totally against them. They're not totally for them. They're just not quite there. So for someone listening who doesn't really know excuse me, someone listening who doesn't really know where they stand on firearms, what would you want them to understand about gun owners, specifically like someone like you? I mean, you're definitely not the big beer belly redneck.
Yeah, I'm not the average demographic, that's for sure. And like, I really didn't think about it until like, you asked me to come on, and I was like, I don't know, like, I feel like I'm not that interesting, like, I don't really have a whole lot to say. And then my Parker was just kind of like, well, you are a woman with a handgun, like, it's a much smaller demographic than I kind of realized. So yeah, definitely that, like, gun owners, it could be anybody. It's never probably what you pictured in your mind, and that we are all looking to follow the law-abiding citizens. Like, I think we're even like statistically less likely to even commit traffic violations. Like, we're really some of the most law-abiding citizens out there, and everyone has their own reasons of why they want to shoot, what type of shooting, recreational, sports shooting, competitions, hunting. Like, there's so many different reasons to be in it, and you just... It's a hard topic because I know a lot of people can form their opinions based on what they see online, and I would really encourage you to have maybe some conversations with people in your life and learn some things about like, maybe, because I'm sure you'd be surprised if you got to talking with someone, and it's definitely not the first thing that I would tell people is that I'm a firearms owner. But if the conversation comes up, I'm certainly happy to have it with anybody. My thoughts and how much fun it can be and that sort of thing.
Yeah, I always, like you said, you were, before you came on, you're like, well, I'm not really that interesting, and that's kind of what I want to highlight in this show. Is it's like, gun owners in Canada aren't these like larger than life out there. Some of them are, obviously, but the majority of us are just run of the mill, average, everyday people. It's like, like you said, everyone has these thoughts and ideas of what gun owners, who they are, why they have them, and like you said, it's like there's whole bunch of different reasons for having them, and we're all law-abiding. I think the stat is where lawful gun owners are 10% less likely to be involved in any sort of crime. Because if you're involved in a crime and your 24-hour background check that you have when you have a PAL flags it, it's like, for me, it's, you could lose your guns, and it's like, then there's no more hunting, and so it's like gun owners are...
It's such a big thing. Like, I'm like, that would be devastating to ever lose my guns, and it's on your mind. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, but like I said, I just want to highlight that gun owners are normal people. They're your neighbors. They're your coffee shop people. They're your person building your house. They're everyone. Your uncle, your aunt, your brother, whoever. Everyone's just pretty normal, despite what you might hear.
Just some big reputations that we can have, and we're just like, I'm just a regular guy,
Totally. What would you say specifically to women who feel like firearms just aren't for them? They haven't really thought about it, but like you said, your grandma was just kind of one of those people that just, you don't know why, she just didn't like them. What would you say to someone listening who's like that?
I would really encourage people to, if you're able to, maybe if you're not interested in like shooting them, but even going out to a range and just being around them, because I totally respect if you're like, it's not something I ever want to own, it's not something I ever want to have, but I can see why people are into it and why they have it, and just the community, and just like, we're law-abiding people, we're not trying to do anything bad with them, and just be around them, because it surprises me some of the conversations I've had where people are just like, I don't see any reason why anyone ever wants to have a semi-automatic rifle, and you're just like, whoa. I mean, they're fun, you can shoot more, it's less time reloading, because there's a lot of time that you're spending at the range where you're really not shooting, that I'm like, it's just kind of more efficient, And they're just like, well, yeah, this could be so terrible. And it's just like, it's really just efficiency and ease of shooting and enjoying my day a little more.
Yeah.
Do you like doing your laundry by hand? No. Kind of takes a lot of extra time, doesn't it? Like, it's just something like really simple like that.
So I just want to talk a little bit. Like I'm going to try to keep this show not political, but more about the policy, specifically Bill C-21 and the handgun freeze and the subsequent bans. It's a super polarizing thing right now. People are for it, they're against it. Just for you as a gun owner, do you feel understood by the people that are making those decisions on this policy?
No, definitely not. Yeah, it feels like they are making some huge statements, and it's honestly, in my mind, I'm just like, have you ever been to a range? Have you ever shot a gun before? Like, do you really know what you're talking about? Like, I can't think of an exact example, but there's just times when you're reading through something and you're just like, what? That's so ridiculous. Like, that's so unnecessary. And I do think that bill was sold as like, we're getting rid of like the extreme, the scary, the assault rifles. And to me, I'm always like, what's an assault rifle? Like, that's not a category. That's not something that I've really ever had anyone answer correctly. And especially some like politicians. Yeah, I'm just like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, it is good to see. It does seem like there's some pretty heavy pushback. I even see it more so in the people that I know that aren't firearms owners. They may be firearms owners. There may not be like the biggest fans of even, modern semi-automatic sporting rifles or handguns, but they're starting to see that this policy doesn't make sense. When you really break down the arguments and you explain it and you get them thinking about it, people are like, it doesn't make sense. And it's good to see. I think we still have a long way to go, but I think if we keep our foot on the gas, and I always tell people, like, engage with your elected officials. Doesn't matter if they're supportive of the buyback program, if they're against it, just keep on them of all levels, all the way from your federal MP, your provincial representative down to the city council. I recently wrote a letter to city council and the mayor of Cranbrook asking them to, hey, at least reassure the people of our town that the people who own these firearms aren't a public safety threat, which is how it's being framed. So anyways, yeah, I encourage all people to get involved. What do you think specifically gun owners did better in the whole conversation around firearms?
Any more elaborate on that question a little? Like
is there anything, do you think that gun owners in Canada are absolutely knocking the conversation around firearms out of the park? Are we just like batting 100, or do you think there's stuff that we can improve on when we're talking to people who aren't gun owners, engaging with the general public?
Okay. I think we're doing pretty good. Like, I think most people would probably be surprised at the knowledge that gun owners have about topics, especially when you're passionate about it. With the buyback, like, I think, I can't say all, but I would say a lot of us are probably in the boat of, like, why are we categorizing some as good and some as bad? I think we're doing good, but I would encourage people, especially if it's more of less of like talking to officials and that sort of stuff, just like my coworker or a neighbor, that sort of stuff, is just to remain like respectful about it. It can be a very frustrating thing to talk about, like myself, when you're like, no, but like this is the way this can be, and they're just like, well, I disagree with you, and they're just like, they're not changing their mind, they're not really interested in having a conversation or being open-minded about new information. It can be really tough, but at least if you can, you know, remain calm, be respectful in the conversation about it, they hopefully won't at least have like as negative of a mindset about it. Like, they can potentially still be open to changing their mind, but
Yeah.
you know, no one ever wants to have a conversation and feel like, man, that guy thought I was so stupid because I didn't know that, whatever the case may be, you know?
Yeah, I think I see it a fair bit. There's the well, if you're not with us, you're against us kind of mentality.
Yeah.
And I have said often that gun ownership in Canada, because it's not a constitutional right like it is in the United States, we have essentially a social license, which means the general public, of which there are vast number more non-gun owners in Canada than there are gun owners. We're 40 billion people, and 2 million of those are firearms owners.
Yep.
So you got 38 million people in Canada that basically get to decide if they're okay with 2 million people having firearms or not. And I always take every conversation I have, I take the approach of, it does more damage to turn a non-gun owner into an anti-gun advocate by the way I behave. So if they walk away from a conversation and they're like, man, that guy was just like arrogant, he was just, you know, whatever, he was just dismissive, no, you're wrong, here's the facts, here's the numbers, here's the stats. It's like, you know, people don't respond well to that. And I think there's a big, because it is so polarizing, and people now are just, well, here's the facts. If you're not believing the facts, why don't you believe the facts? Here's the stats. Look at this. Here's numbers. And I was listening to a podcast recently, and I can't remember the guy. It was the podcast is called Cleared Hot with Andy Stumpf. It was one of his guests. His doctor was, or his doctor. The guest he had on was a doctor, a psychologist, and he said a quote that resonated with me, and I'm gonna butcher it here, but it was basically somewhere along the lines of like, you can hit people with all the numbers and stats, and you probably aren't gonna change their mind, but if you can communicate people and they can hear your story, you have a better chance of changing somebody's mind, because they can perceive the issue in a different way. So rather than hitting people, here's the stats on gun owners, here's the stats on violent crime in Canada, when you sit down and they can say, hey, here's why Breann owns guns, here's why she's a normal person, it may change somebody's mind. And I think that's something that we all have responsibility as gun owners, to conduct ourselves in a high standard. And
For sure.
you're going to have people obviously that are going to smash do the smash and bash approach, but you know, if most of us can keep those non-gun owners curious, and get them asking questions, offer to get them involved. I think that's an overall net win for firearms owners.
Absolutely. Yeah, I guess if you think of yourself as more representing the gun community than just yourself as an individual, like, I think that could definitely be beneficial, because I can't say I've ever thought about it like that, but I'm just one person, but to someone else, I could be just like that person with a firearm and give firearms a bad rep, where if I'm conducting myself in a way where I'm like, I am representing the gun community, not just myself, I think that's definitely something to think about while having those conversations. Totally.
If someone finishes this episode and they still disagree with guns, disagree with the conversation, but they understand you a little better, is that a win?
I'd say so.
Yeah,
I would certainly say that's beneficial. And I would hope that people, even if you yourself are not interested in owning a firearm or being around firearms, can at least respect my my want to have them. And yeah, I definitely think about it lots in Canada, that it's not a right, it's very much a privilege to be able to be a firearms owner and to have them. And I do take that seriously, and I have a lot of respect for it. And I hope that people can see that.
Awesome. Well, we've been going for just over an hour here, so I want to thank you for your time. It's definitely late for me. I'm an old guy when it comes to going to bed. Yeah. But no, thanks so much for coming on and sharing your story and opening up for folks that may not be familiar with how guns work and the gun ownership, and just showing them that we're normal people. So I appreciate you coming on. Any final thoughts?
I would encourage everyone to look up what the name of an AR-15 is. Because that gun has a huge reputation, and when I learned the name, I was surprised. And I have myself asked plenty of people since then, and nobody has ever gotten it correctly. So I would just encourage everyone to learn that little fact.
What is the not what the news tells you, but what does the AR in AR-15 stand for? That's exactly. I have hit people with that one before. Yeah.
Right? It's so good.
Yeah. Right on. Cool. Well, thanks again for coming on, Breann. Thanks to people for listening. If you are liking what you hear, if you like what we do at Wild Origins Canada, I would encourage you to support all the shows that we put out and become a monthly supporter. That's run through the parent organization of Wild Origins or I guess it's just the Origins Foundation out of the States. You'll be entered into giveaways. I believe they're monthly giveaways for all kinds of cool gear. That's the best way to support us and this show. And if not, we appreciate you listening. And right on, folks. Thank you.